We are underway at the Joel. Kevin Boopy Miller at the point for Wake. Hunter Sallis, the Gonzaga transfer, puts it on the deck, pulls up. Wake's on the board first. And here is how the Highlanders from Newark, New Jersey line up tonight. Robinson, Adam Hess, Makai Gray, Elijah Buchanan, and Kel DeGraff with a lot on his plate tonight. He is a 6'10", sixth-year player, but it's a whole different level when you play against an ACC opponent with the size he'll have to deal with. And for Wake, as mentioned, Efton Reed III will come off the bench. Miller, Hildreth, Sallis, who scored the first 2 points, Carr and Keller. Wake Forest with a 5-3 record, and they've done very well in recent years, Malcolm, against non-conference opponents. They haven't lost in over 5 years at home to a non-conference team. Sallis left it short, long rebound, grabbed by Robinson.
And the key in this game, Doug, attacking the paint for Wake Forest. NJIT comes out in a zone. They showed a little full court pressure, drop back into a matchup zone.
Well, that's what Cam Hildreth does for Wake Forest, making plays for nothing. Deeks off to a quick start.
And that's great anticipation, and that's been a problem area for NJIT. Turnovers, Doug, coming into this game, it's really been lopsided for them. 87 assists to 111 turnovers. Right here, this is just great anticipation. Cam Hildreth, I love his game. Two-way player, and that's just great hands. And then that finish, he made it look easy, but this is a difficult finish through contact, eyes on the rim the entire time. That's a big-time finish.
And Malcolm, I love the fact that he used his left hand to reach in and steal that pass. As you saw, 3 turnovers already for the Highlanders. Long rebound tracked down by Adam Hess. And here is Robinson with it.
Forest in man-to-man.
Elijah Buchanan misses on the step back 3. No look. Hildreth goes out of bounds. And this is one thing that's been an issue for Wake Forest. Their assist to turnover ratio, Malcolm, not very good. They're 13th out of 15 teams in the ACC.
Yeah, and that's not a good look right there. And again, the right idea, they want to try to get out in transition before this NJIT zone can get set up. But I think that one's got to be a bounce pass. A little off mark that time by Hildreth.
Well, NJIT coming off a big win on Wednesday in the Bronx at Rose Hill Gymnasium. They upset Fordham 80-77. Makai Gray lit up the Rams with a career-high 21 points. And head coach Grant Billmeyer got a late-night celebratory text message from his longtime boss. Now the head coach at Maryland, Kevin Willard. You saw that Efton Reed has come into the game for the first time.
And you're right, though, Doug. That's a huge win for NJIT. And on the road, they're going to be tested right now against this Wake team, in particular now with this lineup and Efton Reed. The size, I think, in rebounding will be key for them.
Offensive rebound grabbed by DeGraff. Buchanan has it poked away, gets it back. Nice drive along the baseline to get the Highlanders on the board for the first time tonight.
Yeah, that's a beautiful move that time. Great touch on the baseline. And key right now for Wake Forest attacking the zone. They got to get somebody at that foul line area or short corner, see if they can go from there.
Miller feeds the post. Reed gets double teamed. They swing it around, find Hildreth in the corner. After the flyby, beats the buzzer and buries the 3.
That's great ball movement that time. Playing through Efton Reed, passing out of the double team. Ball went left to right, Doug, and that's great execution that time. You can't ask for a better look.
Buchanan fortunate not to have turned it over initially, and then did. Hildreth. Backdoor pass. Looked like Sallis had himself a layup, but then we've got a foul. Wake Forest off to an early 7-2 lead over NJIT here in Winston-Salem.
You're great.
He has of his roster. He's going to do it the old school way.
Couple of free throws from Hunter Sallis. He's got 4 to lead the Deeks. You see the turnover issue so far for NJIT. If they can't run offense, can't hold on to the basketball, they're going to have a hard time staying in this ball game here tonight, Malcolm.
That's key for them. They must do a good job taking care of the ball, in particular the live ball turnovers. Wake wants to get out and run before this D can get set up.
Sallis misses everything. The ball tracked down by Makai Gray, coming off his 21-point career-high performance in Wednesday's win at Fordham. Efton Reed stands his ground and is going to pick up the foul.
And Doug, I like that move that time. Attack the paint if you're NJIT. Don't settle for jumpers. See if you can try to get some of these bigs of Wake Forest into foul trouble.
Here's Gray, the southpaw from Montrose, New York. Good stroke. He's at 78% on the year from the free throw line. And during a rare senior, seems like everybody, Malcolm, on this team is either a freshman, they've got 9 of them, or postgraduate, they have 5 of them.
And that's an interesting mix, and that's what this coaching staff, they want to do. They want to build it the old school way. Bring in freshmen, try to develop guys, but you're right, rarely will you see a roster makeup like this, and 9 freshmen. And we spoke with the coaching staff. They said, look, we want to try to build it the old school way.
Wake playing above the rim. Yet another NJIT turnover off the hands of Tariq Francis.
And this is just beautiful execution right here. Little rub screen, get the big rolling, and the pass, Doug, was on point. And that's beautiful execution by Wake Forest.
Trying to find Parker Friedrichsen in the corner, but it's a Wake Forest turnover. Give it back to the Highlanders. After turning it over, Sallis commits the personal foul. As you saw, 7 turnovers already.
Well, both teams, you're absolutely right, Doug, have to do a better job taking care of the ball. I think NJIT, if they want to pull the upset on the road against the ACC opponent, we talked to the coaching staff, they must do a better job taking care of the ball in this one.
Friendly rim at the Joel. The Highlanders with the 3 ball pulled back to within 4.
Now they go back into their zone. Let's see the adjustment by Wake. I think that's the key right there. Get the ball to the short corner or high post area.
Hildreth's path taken away. Hess all the way to the bucket. Can't finish the layup. Wake up 4 with it. Hildreth. Sallis is fouled, cut off by Elijah Buchanan. Hunter Sallis will take a seat. And in for the first time, Marcus Marion, a freshman from Denmark, stands 6'8", trying to work his way into more minutes, a bigger role this year for head coach Steve Forbes.
And he was highly sought after coming out of Denmark, one of the top players.
Looks like a carbon copy from earlier. This time, though, it's an air ball. Hildreth nailed the last one off a nice feed from Miller. Here comes Miller with numbers. Boopy Miller going coast to coast, and the first 2 points for this former Central Michigan Chippewa.
All name team right there, Boopy, and transition challenging. And the answer really, that's a big move by Hess. Through contact and one.
And so Adam Hess with a chance for 3. The grad transfer out of Westlake Village, California. Went to Westlake High School. This is his 5th school in 6 years. Covering all 4 continental U.S. time zones. He's the epitome of the D1 athlete in the early 2020s, Malcolm.
I tell you what, and he's the oldest player on this roster, turned 25 in October. So I would say well-traveled and experienced. He checks off those boxes.
Friedrichsen, the freshman from Bixby, Oklahoma, gets himself on the board and builds the lead to 6.
And that's a beautiful step back. Look, Wake's going to have to knock down some jumpers, Doug. NJIT, you can tell they're right now strategy, keep Wake out of the paint, force them to shoot jumpers.
Shot clock down to 3. Step back long 2 is good. It beats the buzzer and give the Highlanders 2 more points off the terrific looking shot from Francis, the freshman from Pittsburgh. Well, that looked like a broken possession, but Friedrichsen makes it look good at the end.
And that's all set up by Cam Hildreth. Fancy ball handling that time. You're right, scramble situation. He makes a beautiful pass for another good look for Wake.
That foul on Hildreth takes us to break. Kevin Booth, Malcolm, the last couple of years, and he has gotten more reinforcements this year from the portal.
I tell you what, he has done a remarkable job. He's got a remarkable eye for talent. And you're absolutely right, Doug. He's taking guys that have been in other places, really, again, okay. But he has turned them into not only players of the year in the ACC, but guys that are playing for a pretty big paycheck at the next level. Phenomenal job by him and his staff mining the transfer portal.
Well, coming out of the timeout, Grant Billmeyer runs a good set, and we'll get a couple of free throws out of the grad transfer from Manhattan College. Elijah Buchanan comes in averaging 13 points per game, although he has not distinguished himself so far this season at the free throw line. Perfect swish on the first. Next Saturday, December 16th, we have a college basketball quadruple header beginning at noon Eastern. But these are our featured matchups. Virginia Tech hosting Vermont in Blacksburg at 4 Eastern, and then Virginia squares off against Northeastern right here on ACCN and the app. And if you're the Hokies, look out for the Catamounts. John Becker, out of this America East Conference, has got a mini dynasty going on up in Burlington, Vermont. So if Mike Young's team is not playing its best as Miller scores, Malcolm, that could be a trap game for sure.
Well, I'll tell you what, just across, you look at college basketball in general, a lot of these mid-majors, Doug, again, because they're older, a lot more experience, any game, really, you have to be coming in with that same type of energy as if it was an ACC game.
Terrific defense by Mackay Gray, but then the foul is called that will send Sallis back to the free throw line.
Well, early on, if you're NJIT, you have to be pleased with how you forced Wake into jumpers. Again, that was an emphasis coming into this one. Can they keep Wake out of the paint, force them into some contested jumpers? And they've done that early on. I think on the other end, the issue still continues to be turnovers. They got to do a better job taking care of the ball. But defensively, they've done a good job keeping Wake out of the paint.
Well, Hunter Sallis, as you know, from Omaha, Nebraska, was a 5-star recruit, spent a couple of years in Spokane, Washington. And playing for Mark Few there, the numbers this season at Wake, and I think he's going to get to 301 points and more in less than one season as a Demon Deacon, Malcolm.
Absolutely, and again, another nice find by Coach Forbes and his staff. I think he is going to be a heck of a player in the ACC.
And as Forbes has talked about, he went to Spokane to recruit Hunter Sallis and found out from a third party, hey, you know, you might want to check out this Efton Reed guy. He's going to be available as well. So he got a twofer out of one of the best programs in the country.
I would not be surprised to see these two guys have the same success that some of the other transfers have had under Coach Steve Forbes.
How about Friedrichsen coming off the bench with 8 quick points?
Steve Forbes says he's one of the best shooters he's ever signed. And right here, though, showing that he can play off the bounce. That's great concentration and body control playing through contact, Doug.
Well, he can fill it up. He is his high school's all-time leading scorer back in Bixby, Oklahoma. And these 9 points already his best as a collegiate. He scored 8 in his debut game against Elon, 9 and counting for the 6'3" rookie.
Yeah, he can flat out shoot it in his high school career. Over 273s made.
Miller draws the foul. It goes against Sebastian Robinson. And so Miller will head to the line where he is shooting 80%. That's been one of the strengths of Wake Forest this year, shooting from the free throw line at 79% collectively. Third best in the ACC, number 11 in the country.
And Doug, I've been impressed with Miller, his ability to attack, in particular off of turnovers or in just transition. He does a great job changing direction and then speed. That burst to get to the basket really has been impressive.
Well, Steve Forbes says of Boopy Miller, he's got some Ty Appleby in him. And that can be challenging. Yeah, that's great, but it also can be tough to live up to. And so far, Boopy Miller's done a nice job in his first several games as a Deke. Miller going end-to-end one more time.
He is relentless in his attack and transition, and I've been impressed with his defense as well too. He has been very disruptive with his defensive effort and energy.
Well, he considered transferring out of Central Michigan after his freshman year, but he played a second season in Mount Pleasant and wound up getting himself a tremendous spot in Winston-Salem at the point for Steve Forbes. Sallis going to work. Makes it look easy, doesn't he, Malcolm?
Beautiful, and now Wake starting to open this up. Early on, it was a lot of jumpers, and then right now, Wake Forest attacking the paint.
Team from the floor, and the biggest issue for NJIT so far is just holding on to that basketball. 7 turnovers have been a problem.
Yeah, and 7 points off of turnovers for Wake, and you know, I think the big thing, Wake's ability to attack the paint, as you take a look, though, is NJIT knocking down a 3. Early on, though, Wake was settling for jumpers. They've been able to get out in transition, Doug, and get higher percentage shots. Big reason why they're shooting a good percentage from the floor.
Now, that was Jeffrey Akintolu, who is now 4 of 7 shooting the 3-ball as a collegiate player off the bench for some instant offense. Shot clock under 15. Hess thought about it, now puts it on the deck, strong to the bucket. He's got 7 points to lead the Highlanders tonight.
And that's great patience that time. Almost a turnover early in that possession. Then they got good floor spacing, dribble drive. The help was not there for Wake.
Sallis not able to save it. That is a tremendous job defensively by Tariq Francis.
That might be their best defensive possession right here. All 5 guys locked in. Again, you can see the emphasis on playing that pack line D. They don't want the ball to get into the paint off the bounce or pass. That's great defensive execution by NJIT.
And I love Coach Bill Meyer's reaction in the back of that. We saw in the replay. He is trying to meld a team. He had this whole group come together once they were all on campus in Newark, New Jersey for a July 4th barbecue and one of their team activities to build a bond. And it's so much different than in your day, obviously, Malcolm, where you had a group of guys who you knew who was going to be back next year and you could build from year to year to year. But as a first-year head coach, he's basically starting from scratch.
He really is, and the mix that he has, 9 freshmen and 5 6th-year guys that are a lot older in experience. He said this was going to be key, and I've been impressed with them hanging around. Looked like Wake was going to pull away with this, and again, he's talked about that in terms of just building the culture with this group, and it's going to start with their togetherness.
Hildreth fouled. Looked like that pass as he holds his left elbow. It looked like Reed's pass was going to be stolen. It made its way to Hildreth, who is still down in pain. Now I'm guessing it was a funny bone because no medical staff came to talk to him.
Yeah, man, those are, if you have experienced that, you know that numb feeling, really, it feels a lot worse than it is once it starts to wear off. Let's hope that's all it is, because, you know, Cam Hildreth is so important to what this Wake team does on both ends, and he's having a great start to the season. 17 points per game, close to 40% from the 3-point line, and an excellent free throw shooter. But I think the biggest thing for him, his playmaking ability, Doug. He is a guy that can beat you off the bounce and either score for himself or set his teammates up.
Yeah, he's taken a couple of jumps from his freshman year to last year to this year. He just keeps on getting better. Love the way he plays, the pace that he plays with. And Malcolm, I love the fact that his father, Daniel Hildreth, played professional basketball in England for Steve Forbes' good friend. You may have heard of him, Nick Nurse. And Nick and Steve are still close. They call each other very close friends. And these are the connections you never know how they're going to manifest. And so Coach Forbes winds up getting an all-conference caliber player in Cam Hildreth.
And I think the key thing in that graphic we showed, look, player development is so huge, Doug, whether it's through the transfer portal or you have guys that have been with you for multiple years. And again, credit Steve Forbes and his staff. They do a really good job in that area. Guys just seem to get better, and I think that's so key when you're bringing guys in, how fast and how well you can develop them to fit your system.
Makai Gray is having a tough time holding on to the basketball for NJIT. The possession arrow belongs to the Highlanders, so they will keep it. No turnover this time.
So Jamie Lucky.
And they're like, look, we're just going to knock this off early. We're not going to let it get out of control. And you can see right here, again, it's kind of like a little subtle, like, hey, look, I'm just going to give you a little nudge. And typically it's always the second guy that gets caught. But again, the referee's in position, and I like that. A double tech. All right, knock it off. We don't want any extracurricular stuff after the whistle blows.
So the dead ball technical on Tariq Francis and the dead ball technical on Kevin Boopy Miller. NJIT with the ball down by 9 in this first ever meeting between the Highlanders and the Demon Deacons. Mid-range by Francis. He's undeterred by that technical.
And I like what they did there. They put Efton Reed and a ball screen. He doesn't hedge there, and he's able to come off and get a clean look.
Here's Reed, who has yet to take a shot in his second game as a Demon Deacon. There's his first attempt. It rolls off. 5 minutes to go in the half.
That's better that time by Reed on that ball screen. Comes out and hedges hard.
Well, it's going to be hard for Efton Reed to do better on a consistent basis. Debut game for the Deeks in the win 76-57 over Rutgers on Wednesday. Came off the bench, 12 points and a career high 14 rebounds. And I love the way he carries himself, Malcolm, and after the game, the way he spoke to the press. He just seems like a terrific young man who has been a tremendous addition to this Wake program.
No, I think it's huge, Doug. Again, his presence on both ends, giving them that true low post presence, and then a guy, again, defensively that can rebound for you.
A rejection at the rim. Andrew Carr thought he was going up for a slam, but Kel DeGraff said, not on my watch.
And I like this right here, Doug. He kept the ball in play. Again, sometimes guys try to punch it into the stands. That's a big-time defensive play by DeGraff.
Well, after 4 consecutive DNPs, DeGraff enjoyed back-to-back outstanding games against Fairleigh Dickinson and then in the win over Fordham, bringing something tonight for the Highlanders as well. And he's going to go to the free throw line after being fouled at the basket by Efton Reed.
You're right. Doug, he was huge off the bench for that in that Fordham game. 12 points.
Yeah, I was just going to say, how about what's on the screen there, Malcolm? I mean, along with the basketball, the fact that this young man has 2 degrees, postgraduate, in chemical engineering. He's just stacking degrees. He's showing off as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I can only speak for myself, but I would say he's probably, just between me and you, that broadcast team, I would probably bet on him being the smarter of the 3 if I was picking. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, you could add my GPA and your GPA, and we probably still don't get to where Kel is.
And the coaching staff really raves about him. Their short experience with him thus far, really, he has added so much to them and waited for his time. And again, that last game, a win, a huge win for them against Fordham. 12 points and then coming off the bench, and a huge putback with 2.0 seconds left on the clock to put them ahead.
Off the steal by Gray, the Highlanders have cut the deficit to 3. Akintolu with another bucket, and what do you know, the Demon Deacons are being pressed by their first-time rivals out of the America East Conference.
He's experienced it as a player and as a coach. And again, a lot of times that word home run hire is thrown out there, Doug. But if you're NJIT, you can't ask for a better person leading this program. And I think really they're going and going to get going in the right direction and have success under Coach Bill Meyer.
Well, Boopy Miller's layup snaps a 13-1 run for NJIT. Remember, Wake led by as many as 15 points in the half.
but in a very short period of time, less than 4 minutes, the Highlanders got right back in it.
Sallis blocks the shot from Gray. Here come the Deeks. Little give and go. Missed shot, though. Zach Keller couldn't finish.
Oh, it was a beautiful pass that time by Miller. Just unable to finish.
Tough looking shot by Tariq Francis. Miller from the elbow, no. Fight for the rebound. Comes to the Highlanders. Traveling violation. Another turnover committed by NJIT. The New Jersey Institute of Technology from Newark, New Jersey. They have only been a Division I program since 2006 when they transitioned up from D2. And I'll tell you what, in their 18 Division I years, here's something that will put in perspective how long Kel DeGraff has been on this campus. He has been there for a full 1/3 of their Division I history, 6 of their 18 years.
That's amazing. And right now, though, you know, Wake Forest, the concern is the turnovers. NJIT 11 points off of turnovers, and Wake right now, again, when they have not been able to get out in transition, credit NJIT. They've done a good job being disruptive and then keeping Wake out of the paint. They forced them into some very difficult shots.
Wake has committed 7 turnovers. NJIT has coughed it up 8 times. Boy, NJIT handled that very nicely. They get a layup out of the Manhattan grad transfer, Daniel Schreier. No teardrop. Hunter Sallis again making it look easy at the offensive end. He averages over 18 per game, and he has got Wake Forest back in front by 5.
And that's all set up by Miller. Kind of the hockey assist. Again, he started that play off on the right side. A nice cross-court pass, and that led to an extra pass to a nice little floater.
Gray with his 4th turnover. Can the Demon Deacons make him pay? My goodness, that almost went for Friedrichsen, but he'll head to the free throw line to shoot a pair. And again, Friedrichsen already has a new career high in his brief college career with 9 points. Chance to get to double figures from the line for the 6'3" freshman out of Bixby, Oklahoma. He originally signed with Notre Dame, but then got a release after Mike Bray announced he was leaving at the end of last season. ACC PM with Mark Packer and Taylor Tannenbaum. Weekdays from Mark's Charlotte studio in his basement at 4 Eastern. They'll continue talking college football, of course, and have the latest from around the conference right here on ACCN and the ESPN app. One minute remaining in the half. Four to shoot. Highlanders got a decent look. Now they can use another 20 seconds on the shot clock. Francis to the corner. Clean look for Hess. He has been money at the offensive end for NJIT.
And that's great use of the high ball screen. Again, the bigs of Wake, when they don't come up and hedge, NJIT guards have done a nice job of snaking the ball screen, getting into the paint. That time, beautiful find in the corner.
With 1 second left in the half, Wake finds a tremendous look from the corner. Matthew Marsh with his first made. Being declared eligible as a 2-time transfer. Played his freshman year at LSU, then last year at Gonzaga. Hunter Sallis off the bounce. And a foul on the shot. There's a good look at Hunter Sallis, whose mom, Jessica Haynes, played at San Diego State and then played professionally in the WNBA. She could dunk. Hunter's mom, 6 feet tall. She played for the Utah Stars back in 1997. And she and her son are very close, and he has got some very talented genes in him.
No doubt about that, and really he's going to be a huge piece for what Wake wants to do this year. Another big-time pickup for Steve Ford's and staff. And I'd like to start to this second half, Doug. Again, they come out and try to attack the paint early on.
And you know what? On Mother's Day in 2020, Hunter wrote a beautiful letter to his mom, Jessica, on ESPNW.com. That if you haven't seen it, it's worth a Google just to see how he and his mom love each other so much. End to end for the 3rd time tonight. That's Kevin Boopy Miller. He's into double figures.
And speaking of love, Steve Forbes must love the way he's seeing out of Kevin Boopy Miller. His ability to accelerate in transition really, Doug, has been impressive. You can see why he compares him and says he's got a little bit of Ty Appleby in him.
That was banked in from an odd angle. Makai Gray's going to take it, but that was not a thing of beauty.
If he shoots that 10 times, he maybe makes that one. Maybe twice. You got to call bank from there, but they will take that, and they continue to hang around in this game, NJIT.
That's a nice look from Andrew Carr, who penetrated, got a paint touch, looked back and found Zach Keller standing there all by himself.
And that's key, Doug, to that right there. They got the ball in the paint. You don't mind that three. Again, that's a pretty good look. Good floor spacing, and again, the ball went inside to the paint, kicked it back out to a wide open shooter.
DeGraff answering at the other end. 45-38, Wake Forest.
Neither team defending the three-point line well. Both teams over 40% from beyond the arc.
Miller. Here comes Robinson. No numbers. All 5 Deeks got back. And so the Highlanders will run some offense. Robinson dumps it off. That's a nice looking set. DeGraff has 2 more.
And that is a beautiful pick and roll play that time. And look, that's been the key for NJIT. They've had issues turning the ball over that time in their half-court set. Great execution.
Hildreth thought about it. Nice move by Makai Gray. Give him 7. And once again, it's a 3-point ball game.
And, Doug, that's all set up by spacing. NJIT has spaced the floor out. And they have Wake spread out so far. Again, they're getting dribble drives. And because they've shot the ball well from the three-point line, guys are hesitant to help off.
Buchanan tried to tie it. Hildreth protects the ball. Hess fouls him. And so the junior from Worthing, England, will shoot a pair. Hildreth 1 for 2 from the line tonight. He is now 32 for 36 this year. He's among the ACC leaders at around 90%. And if you're wondering, why does NJIT play Wake Forest in basketball? Again, it's the first time these two schools have met. Well, the athletic director at NJIT, Lenny Kaplan, likes to play games, non-conference, in areas where they have alumni. And so NJIT has a good alumni presence in the state of North Carolina, and specifically in Winston-Salem. And it's part of the 4 guarantee games where they get money from the larger school to come and play. and that is typically the blueprint. They've only got 2 games on their schedule, this one and the season opener, as you see, at Miami, where they actually have to get it on an airplane. But the money that they make off of these guarantee games goes, as you know, Malcolm, a long way towards funding the athletic department.
Absolutely, and I think great reasoning behind that. Again, obviously, anytime you can get your alums involved and get a chance to meet some of these young men, and obviously the program and the school and the institution has meant so much to those folks. Again, just a great thing that they're doing at NJIT.
And again, this is an 18th year Division I program from Newark, New Jersey, giving Wake Forest all it can handle in this non-conference game tonight. Wake Forest cashes in transition. Up to the rim was Andrew Carr.
And that's all set up by Wake's defense. Again, the bigs doing a better job hedging on ball screens. And then right here, Cam Hildreth does a nice job locking and trailing on that screen.
Pass misses. Here comes Wake again in transition. Sallis right to the bucket and met at the rim. That quieted the crowd, and at the other end, Elijah Buchanan calmly buries the pull-up.
Now, whether or not NJIT is able to pull off the upset, the coaching staff will show that last play right there. Now, that is a great hustle play in transition to break up what looked like was going to be an uncontested layup.
DeGraff's going to be called for the foul on the post entry intended for Efton Reed. The Highlanders hanging around the Demon Deacons here in Winston. ESPN, when we partner with the V Foundation to highlight the urgent need for cancer research. This is game-changing research that helps save lives. You can join the fight against cancer by visiting v.org/donate. And keep in mind, again, 100% of your donation goes directly to cancer research.
Doug, that video, every time I see it, really just so powerful, so impactful that don't ever give up. And obviously, cancer has impacted so many people, so many families, and really all the great work that the V Foundation does, really just phenomenal.
That's a great baseline out of bounds. Coming out of the timeout to find Hunter Sallis down the lane for 2.
Well, that's what they need more of, Doug. Again, continued attacking in the paint. That's going to be the key for them. And then right here, they're going to have to do a better job defending the three-point line. NJIT right now over 40% from the three-point line.
NJIT has picked up its shooting to stay in this game. Now 13 for its last 21. Hess leads all scores with 15, and it's once again a 4-point difference. I love the way Hildreth penetrates, stays on time, on balance, and just waits until he has an opening.
And great body control that time, bully ball that time. Again, don't settle for a jumper. And that's beautiful jump stop jumper, under control, great body control by Cam Hildreth.
NJIT has never led, trying to beat an ACC opponent for the first time after 4 tries. Buchanan's 3 is off the mark, and here comes Hildreth. Right to the basket. And the whistle.
That's been their advantage. 12 fast break points to 2. Cam Hildreth right here showing off the body control. That's just a big boy move right there. Jump stop jumper. And then in transition, Doug, that is a beautiful finish through contact. Much needed bucket for Wake.
Just occurred to me watching those 2 highlights, Malcolm. He could have fit in with those great Villanova teams for Jay Wright, the way he plays.
Absolutely. And again, Steve Forbes and staff, they deserve a lot of credit for his development. Again, we've seen him get better year after year, and he continues. And this season, coming in early on, close to 18 points a game he is averaging.
Numbers for the Highlanders. A second chance for Hess. 0 for 2 on that trip. Efton Reed tried to establish himself on the post. He's playing with 3 fouls. A couple of the Highlanders also with 3 fouls, DeGraff and Buchanan. Here's Buchanan. Step back 3. Little strong. Hildreth with another rebound.
That's great blocking out that time by Wake as a team. All 5 guys had a body on somebody.
And Reed just picked up his 4th personal foul.
And that's not a good decision right there. And we talked about blocking out by Wake. That's an even better job of team rebounding by NJIT. Not a good foul by Efton Reed.
And so he'll take a seat once again on Steve Forbes' bench. Schreier goes out for NJIT. The Highlanders hanging in there. 8 minutes gone here in the second half at the Joel. Good drive by Gray. He's a left-hander, goes left all the time, just couldn't finish. Boopy Miller with that quick first step. He missed the layup.
And both teams getting some pretty good looks, Doug. Guys just unable to convert at the rim.
Strong finish. First 2 points on the night for Sebastian Robinson, the 3-time Rookie of the Week in the America East Conference.
The coaching staff, you can see why they're so high on this young man. That time, a great body control to go around the big and cut this deficit back down to 6.
Carr off the great fake, sets up Sallis. Here come the Highlanders in transition. Francis had a good look. Robinson, the offensive rebound. He'll pull it back out.
And that's a heads-up play. A lot of times guys get an offensive rebound in that situation, think they got to rush it back up. Get the possession. You got a new shot clock.
Buchanan. And the shot clock expired before Robinson got off the shot. And the Highlanders have been as close as 3 points here in the second half. They have never led tonight. The Demon Deacons have been able to keep them at arm's length. But as you see, Malcolm, they are facing another drought. 3.5 minutes since Wake scored.
And credit NJIT's defense. They've done a nice job doing this right here. Being disruptive and going back to the earlier number of points off of turnovers. They've done a nice job of creating some offense with their defense.
Yeah, Grant Billmeyer told us yesterday in terms of, you go on the road, play an ACC opponent like Wake. You have to do what you can to control the tempo, maybe slow it down a little bit. But with all the turnovers they've forced, they've been out in transition constantly. They've been looking to push throughout. The throwdown by Kel DeGraff.
Well, hanging around, we've used that word a couple times, that phrase a couple times, but it all starts on this end for NJIT. They've done a good job contesting and then being disruptive against Wake.
And DeGraff again went straight up defensively after going straight up on the other end for the dunk.
And beautiful interior passing right here. And again, the defense of Wake spread out, but they've done a nice job spacing the floor, and then their bigs have done a nice job finishing when they've had their opportunities around the basket.
DeGraff gets called for the foul 20 feet from the basket, trying to close out. And that is his 4th. That is a huge problem for NJIT. Miller gets it back. Guarded by Sebastian Robinson. Sallis for three. Good crash for the board by Keller. The possession continues with the freshman Friedrichsen back on the floor, number 20 in white. Keller again. That one goes.
Just like that, well, Wake pushes it back up to a 7-point lead, and that's, again, better patience. And you'll take that three, Doug. Ball, dribble drive, gets into the paint, draw the defense, and then kick back out.
Robinson's pass knocked away. Sallis picks up his dribble, now brings it back out to Miller, who calls for a screen. Inside out go the Deeks. Another good look. And again, on the glass is Zach Keller. But that is
now, I don't know if they're looking at the shot clock. And again, if I'm Steve Forbes, although you like that they're on the play, that looked like it was going to be a wide open pull-up jumper for Boopie Miller. And that's a break for NJIT.
Again, one of the rules they put in a few years ago, if you get an offensive rebound, the shot clock, if you do it in the front court, the shot clock resets to 20. If you track it down to the back court, it goes back to 30. Miller, two more for the redshirt sophomore out of Victory Rock Prep in Florida. Timeout with NJIT down 9. Wake Forest 60 and the Highlanders 51. Biggest lead of the night came in the first at 15, but I tell you what, Malcolm, NJIT, having been blasted in each of its previous 4 outings in their Division I history against ACC opponents, doing a nice job still hanging in there. They lost by 41 opening night in Coral Gables to the Hurricanes. A much different story so far here this evening.
And I think they're getting more and more comfortable. We talked about their breakdown. 9 newcomers, freshmen, and then some fifth-year guys. But they've done a nice job of hanging around in this game. I've been more impressed, though, with their defense. They've done a nice job of creating turnovers and being disruptive to Wake offensively.
No surprise inside Andrew Carr now with 6 points. Wake has 4 players in double figures. That's been one of the stories this year. They've got 4 guys averaging better than 15 points per game. The only Division I team in the country that can claim that. And they have some firepower.
Well, if I'm Wake, I'm going right back to that same play they ran last time. See if you can get Carr posted up in the paint. Force NJIT to double.
Little flip shot by Daniel Shire off the mark. Miller takes the contact, no call. And it's NJIT basketball.
And that's not a good play that time by Miller. Again, you have a lead. Be a little bit more patient. You don't mind getting into the paint, but again, you had success the previous play going down low to your big.
Timer down to 7. Pull up by Robinson, no. Miller with the head up, finds from the other wing. Friedrichsen, who picks up in the second where he left off in the first.
You can see why Steve Forbes gave him high praise. He said he's one of the best shooters he's ever signed. And Steve Forbes has had a lot of really good shooters in his coaching career, and that is a quick release right there in transition off a nice find by Miller.
13 points in 20 minutes off the bench for Friedrichsen. Robinson airballs it. Demon Deacons trying to take advantage in transition. Hunter Sallis give him 14 points, and the Wake lead has ballooned to 14.
Doug, their defense, that has been the key in this run. They've contested, and then they've been able to get out in transition, and they have dominated that area in this game. Fast break points, 17-2, the advantage to Wake in fast break points.
Buchanan with the pull-up. Double team on the post. Back out to Friedrichsen. Miller penetrates. Passes to the corner. Sallis. Again from the mid-range. No. The tip in by Andrew Carr. Wake Forest with its largest lead of the second half at 14. And Hunter Sallis, the junior from Omaha, taking things in that here tonight. 13 and counting.
You can see why they're so high on this young man. His ability to shoot the ball, quick release, and Doug, he put up huge numbers in high school. Over 270 made threes, scored over 2,100 points, and again, you put him out on the floor with a guy like Kevin Boopy Miller. He'll be able to create and get some shots because of Wake's great floor spacing, and this was a huge coming out party for him tonight.
Friedrichsen, as a high school senior last year, averaged over 30 points per game. So you know he can get hot. And this is the first time the Deacon fans have really gotten an opportunity to see that scoring ability. Elijah Buchanan into double figures now for NJIT. Efton Reed back onto the floor for Wake Forest, having yet to score tonight, playing with 4 fouls. He comes up to set the ball screen. 10 to shoot. Here is Reed.
And that's not a good look, and not one that Steve Forbes and staff wanted. Again, they prefer to have Reed with his size advantage down low on the block. Let him go to work there. Don't want him settling for contested jumpers.
DeGraff the last to touch. Grant Billmeyer has his team down 12. Do they have another push in them here in Winston?
I think that's kind of under the radar right now. Clemson, Brad Brownell, that team right there is dangerous. As we take a look at a beautiful transition offense by Wake Forest. And Boopy Miller with the beautiful find to Carr.
Yeah, you say Clemson's under the radar. They're not going to be for long. They have, gotten into the rankings the last couple of weeks. Number 24 in the AP poll. Joe Girard had 21 points today in the win for Clemson over TCU. And so the Tigers, how about Friedrichsen? Give him 16 points to extend that career high. Timeout called. It's a 30-second timeout. We'll be back in half a minute as Wake Forest puts this away. 15 or more points. He's into double figures now off of this slam, off the beautiful feed from Boopy Miller.
All name team, Boopy Miller. And Doug, I've been impressed with his ability to set his teammates up. Boopy with the lob to Carr, and that is beautiful transition offense by Wake Forest. And right now, Miller has 6 assists in this game, Doug, to go along with 13 points.
And Steve Forbes has been raving about how much better Miller has gotten since coming to Wake Forest. That from their first scrimmage to now, nobody has improved more than Miller, and his assists continue to go up. He continues to involve his teammates while still getting his own. It really is a transition for him, right, Malcolm?
It really is, and again, credit Steve Forbes and his staff. We ran the graphic earlier, guys like Jake LaRavia, guys like Alondis Williams that have come into this program and have continued to get better. Again, that does not happen by mistake. His staff and Coach Forbes do a great job of getting these guys to play of the way that they need to do in their system.
Well, he came into this game 10th in the ACC in assists at 3.6 per game and travel against Sallis. But I don't think it's a stretch to think Miller is going to climb those ACC ladders in terms of assists per game based on what we're seeing lately and especially here tonight.
Well, Coach Ford says, look, he reminds him a little bit of Ty Appleby, and you can see why. Again, his explosiveness, his ability to get into the paint. I think, for me, the big thing I was impressed with, his ability to accelerate and then finish through contact and then set his teammates up as well, too. Really, you're right. I would not be surprised to see him be one of the top ACC assist leaders.
2 minutes to go. Miller with the rebound and the basketball. Another paint touch. Under control. Give him 2 more. Kevin Boopy Miller and the Demon Deacons closing in on a 6th win this young season.
It's gifting go time.
In the ACC.
Now you see the graphic, only Division I school to have 4 players averaging 15 or more points per game. And so Friedrichsen came into the game averaging only 3.3. It's been a quiet night for Efton Reed, his 2nd game as a Demon Deacon, scoreless still. And his night is over after having picked up his 5th foul. Never got going. But there will be better nights for the 7-footer from Richmond, Virginia.
And I think it goes to the balance that Wake Forest has. Again, rare do you have a team that can put 4 and 5 guys in double digits, but they've done that on a consistent basis.
Another rebound for Miller. Lost it. Sallis has it. Carr got the defender up and lays it in. He may get to his average of 15.3 yet. Malcolm, we haven't even mentioned Damari Monsanto, who the Deeks are still hopeful they might get back by the end of the month. And if you bring that sniper into this mix, there's another great offensive weapon that maybe, if his rehab continues as they hope, he could play December 30th against Virginia Tech, if not sometime early in January. And this will change the complexion again for Wake Forest for the better.
One of the better 3-point shooters in the ACC. You talk about a guy that can flat out shoot it. Really, that is something that many folks will take an eye on with this Wake team. Getting him back and a healthy Monsanto, he really, to me, Doug, is a guy that spaces the floor with this Wake team. You get him back into the lineup, and they become very dangerous with the leadership of Boopy Miller.
A lot of walk-ons on the floor now. Kevin Dunn, Will Underwood, Owen Cometti. But it's the scholarship freshman, Parker Friedrichsen, who just keeps filling it up.
Now, Doug, folks are going to look at this score and say, okay, maybe it was an easy game. You know, right now, looks like they're going to win by 20. But, Doug, make no mistake about this. This game was very close. 8 minutes, 10 minutes to go in the second half. NJIT was very much in this game. And again, at the end, folks are going to look at the score and say, look, it might have been an easy game, but give credit to NJIT. They hung around for quite a bit in this game.
Kevin Dunn, one of the walk-ons from right there in Winston-Salem, with a bucket and a rebound. Jalen Robinson scored for NJIT at the other end, but that will do it. NJIT pushes Wake, but in the end, the Demon Deacons were just too much. They pull away for an 83-59 victory.
Well, at the end of the day, Doug, it's a win. A balanced performance again by Wake Forest. Steve Forbes has to be pleased with how his team shared the ball. And then the freshman, Parker Friedrichsen, really an impressive performance for him. A guy came in that was only averaging 3 points. He wound up with a game-high 19 points.
Yeah, 5 in double figures. Friedrichsen, the career-high 19. Miller, 15. Sallis, 14. Hildreth and Carr, both with 12. That's been the script for the Demon Deacons so far this year. They improve to 6-3 on the year. NJIT drops to 2-7. For Malcolm Huckabee and our entire crew, I'm Doug Sherman. Thanks for watching. Wake Forest beat NJIT 83-59. Now we send it to the studio. Luke Hancock and Justin Walter.